Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here uh, this afternoon, this wonderful, lovely Wednesday. And we'll go ahead and like and share the post, and then we'll jump in to our topic. Just to remind you, 2 weeks ago, we started looking at the last words of Jesus as a guide, as a pattern for what to do when you're having a bad day. And so nobody's ever had a worse day than Jesus had on the day of his crucifixion. And so how he handled it is an excellent model to us. And 2 weeks ago, we looked at his words when he said, Father, forgive them, and learned that the first thing we do when we have a bad day is to forgive those who have caused our bad day. The second thing we looked at last week was as he hung there on the cross and his conversation with the thieves. And as he said to the one thief, today you'll be with me in paradise. How the second thing we do when we're having a bad day is to help others. So we forgive others, we help others. And then today, we're going to look at the third statement, and it teaches us then to care for those who are near us. So you can say, forgive others, help others, care for others. And we see that here in this phrase. As he looked down, he sees his mother and he says, Woman, behold your son. And then he looks at John, the only disciple that has followed him all the way to the cross and says, Behold your mother. And so the third thing we learn and how we deal with a bad day. And again, let me give credit. This is a some thoughts that came. I had a little small booklet. I don't know if you call it more of a booklet than a book that has laid on my desk for months. And I finally picked it up and looked and said, "Man, these are some good words that we need to hear that I need to share with our people." And so that's where these thoughts are coming from. And this third one comes from then that phrase, "Woman, behold your son, son." Or behold your mother. And so we learn then to take care of those who are near us when we're having a bad day. It is a great example we have from Jesus Christ as he is hanging on the cross, enduring torment, torture, punishment as no one before or since has ever had to endure, that his attention was turned to his mother. And so he looks down and he addresses her. Then he addresses John, again, the only disciple that has followed him all the way to the cross. The others, for various reasons, mainly out of fear, have abandoned Jesus and have ran off and hid. Perhaps we're watching from a distance, but John is the only one who is there at the foot of the cross. And as he is hanging on the cross and suffering, he addresses Mary and John. Again, the only other person to be there, kind of, I guess, on Jesus' side that we know of, were the women, two other women there besides Mary's mother that were there, probably supporting her. On his side, but supporting Mary as well, being an encouragement, trying to help her. And so, again, considering the role of women at that time, considering the emotion of the moment, certainly for Mary as she watched her oldest son suffer this unimaginable pain and torment. The other two women were there to support her. Difficult to imagine. No, it's not difficult. It's impossible to imagine what Mary was experiencing and feeling as they went through this time. Again, Mary's an interesting study in herself as she follows along through the life and the ministry of Jesus. She has been a follower of her own son, and unlike some people in the world, Mary was never confused or was under any um, self ideas about her importance in this role. She understood who she was, and she understood who Jesus was, and she understood the importance of his ministry, and that she understood her role and his role as both. And so, as she was there at his crucifixion, again, difficult to imagine that scene, what she was going through with, the emotion that she would have been experiencing at that time um, as she went through this. She watched what her son went through, and I don't think even the coldest heart among us doesn't. You know, it's hard for me to believe that, regardless of what you think of Jesus Christ, you wouldn't have some measure of compassion and pity for his mother, having to watch Jesus go through this crucifixion. And I want to take a moment here and maybe veer off the paved road for just a second and try to think for a minute about what was going through Mary's mind. Certainly, as a mother, her emotions would have been um, just all over the place. Mother, her child just gets a little. Mother sees her child with a little boo boo on his finger. She's, you know, flies into high gear. Imagine if you can even begin to try to imagine what she was experiencing as she was there in the cross on the cross. But one of the things that also and had to be going through Mary's mind. Again, had never thought about it this way until picked up this little book and was looking at it. One of the things that had to be going through Mary's mind is, well, what's going to happen to me? And I don't mean that in a selfish way. I don't mean that but especially in that culture where women were so unappreciated, the way that they were treated. Joseph was dead at this point. Most people believe that Joseph was a good bit older than Mary to start with. And when he passed away, Jesus, being the oldest son, would have stepped into the role of responsibility of taking care of his mother. He probably took over the family business, was the leader of the family, and now he is being crucified. And so Mary is facing a real dilemma, again, especially in that society. We may, it may not, it's probably, I hope it's not anyway, that bad today, but in that culture, it was a very desperate situation for her. She was prone to being taken advantage of and mistreated by society. Again, women were not much more than a possession, and so with Jesus and Joseph out of the picture, she was going to be, again, kind of real bottom of the society, in that kind of position, really in the bottom of society. And it's in that moment that, as all of that, again, you can't help but think that some of that was somewhere in Mary's mind. I don't think it was the forefront, and I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that Mary was selfish or self-centered. I'm just pointing out the reality of things, that it had to be at least a sliver of thought into her mind of what's going to happen to me with Jesus gone. And as she was thinking that, and in that exact moment, with everything that was going on, with everything that was happening to Jesus, with the ridicule, with the gambling for his clothes, with the torture, the torment, and all that was on the worst day anyone has ever experienced, in that precise moment, Jesus looks down and says, "Woman, behold your son." Now, let me just take just a little second here and point out, because some people, it seems like they never fail. Somebody gets bent out of shape over Jesus saying "woman." Well, most of us know if we were to look at our mother today and say "woman," we would have, probably woke up, in the floor somewhere, laid in a corner somewhere. Well, woman was the equivalent in that point, in that time. The word used there is the equivalent of saying "ma'am," and so Jesus was not being disrespectful in any way, shape, nor form, not even close. So let's clear that up. Instead, again, let's focus on what he is doing. Woman, behold your son. He told her, look at John. And again, as he did that, then he looks at John and says, behold your mother. And so, in the middle of the worst day he could possibly have, hanging on a cross, blood pouring from every conceivable location on his body, he is beaten, bruised, marked. Um, he makes sure his mother is going to be taken care of. I don't really think much more needs to be said on that issue. He gives John the responsibility of taking care of his mother. Um, so, again, how do we handle a bad day? We learn one of the things from Jesus. Um, Again, we've talked about forgiving those that are causing the bad day, helping others, but here he's caring for those that are closest to him. He has a responsibility, and he gives that to his trusted dear friend John, to make sure that she is taken care of. I don't think we can miss or overstate the beauty of that moment. Again, in the midst of no other day in history, nobody can compare and even begin to consider a day of that nature. And in that day, Jesus, of all the things he's concerned about, of all the things he's taking care of or concerned about, he is concerned about the well-being of his mother. That model, that example should speak volumes to you and I as Christians. Son, here's your new mother. Take care of her like she is your mother. When you're going through a bad day, learn from the model of Jesus Christ, and don't forget to take care of those closest to you. Be careful how we take care of those. We all know we have um, there's a real likelihood that when we come in from a day's work, we've had a really bad day. Um, you know, the dog, the cat, the kids, the wife, the husband, everybody. I had a bad day. Y'all are going to have a bad day. We may not make that conscious decision, but it's just the way it happens usually. What Jesus teaches us is to make a conscious decision the other way. Instead of, I had a bad day, so y'all are going to have a bad day. I had a bad day, but I'm not going to make your day a bad day. I'm not going to make your day. And so we just, that's kind of human nature, is that when we're having a bad day, we think somehow or another if we dump it off on other people, that maybe they get part of it, it won't be as bad for us. And so, as we, as followers of Jesus Christ, model our life and live like Jesus, then we need to, I think, be really careful in this area. Is that if we're going to be a disciple, that means a follower of Christ, then we act like Christ. And because I am his disciple, I'm not going to allow um, my bad day to cause someone else to have a bad day. That's just the model of Jesus. In fact, Jesus, think about it. Why do we call it Good Friday? The worst day on record turned out to be the best day for you and us, you and I. If the model is clear, when we're going through a bad day, we take care of. We go out of our way and go the extra mile to take care of those who are the closest to us. I saw a shirt one time that says, I don't suffer from stress, but I am a carrier. That's the way some people go about their life. When they're stressed out, they give it to everybody else. They put it on everybody else and pass this on to all the other people. We don't dump. Disciples of Christ should not dump their bad day on everybody else. If that means you have to go off and spend some time by yourself, spend some time with the Lord, whatever it is, we don't do that. Disciples of Christ don't do that. We, in fact, go the extra mile to show our concern and our compassion for others. As I think about that, as I walk through this with you, because I'm as guilty as I'm preaching to the choir tonight. That if I come in and I've had a bad day and I dump that on Rhonda and the kids, then that gets them upset, gets them angry. What happens? It just turns into an even worse day. But if I can come in and be like Jesus, um, and do my best to make their day better, and to pour into them, then most likely that's going to eventually come back and make my day a little better. And so I hope you'll think about that and think about the model that Jesus set, that when we're having a bad day, we forgive others, we help others, but we intentionally, purposefully care for those who are closest to us. I hope that helps you through your next bad day. Join me next week. We'll look at number 4 as we continue this idea, this thought of how to handle a bad day.